the October Synod for the Middle East at the center of attention of the Assembly of Catholic Ordinaries of the Holy Land. The talks in Washington, an important opportunity for dialogue despite the diverging positions on the multiple and complex questions that remain to be resolved, the auspices of the Custos of the Holy Land. 2 weeks after the Catholic celebration, Orthodox Christians celebrated the Feast of the Assumption, or the Dormition of Mary. Many in Jerusalem took part in a procession to the Hierosolimitissa. A new roof for the Basilica of the Nativity. An agreement is signed for 50 days of renovation involving the various Christian communities who care for this holy place. The Palestinian National Authority is also involved. The work continues in the Holy Land in preparation for the Synod that will take place in Rome from October 10 to 24. On the basis of the Lineamenta, work is being carried out on the Instrumentum Laboris, entrusted to the Synodal Fathers on the occasion of Pope Benedict XVI pilgrimage to Cyprus last June. In these past days, the Catholic Ordinaries of the Holy Land, gathered for their regular assembly, have presented and reflected on the many topics that will be treated in the various interventions during the Synod.
The
first preparation is with prayer, because the Synod embraces so many complex themes like the renewal of the faith of Christians, the communion between the Oriental churches, ecumenical and interreligious dialogue, the migration of Christians, with also references to political questions in the Middle Eastern conflict. All these are major points.
Synod of the Catholic Church for the Middle East concerns Arab and non-Arab countries and covers a vast geographical area that spans from Egypt to Turkey, from Iran to Israel, passing through the countries of the Gulf. It thus touches directly or indirectly upon the reality of 14 million Christians that live in the midst of 330 million people, counting Arabs, Turks, Iranian, Greeks, and Jews. In short, the Synod for the Middle East finds itself facing a complex and multifaceted situation.
The Synod is a point of departure. We arrive with our suggestions and our problems, but we know that it is up to us to make up for what is lacking. With this meeting, we have discovered the weak points, where there is a need to work, to coordinate with so many rights, so many immigrants, with workers that are part of a worldwide interreligious dimension of dialogue. It is up to us to take this work more seriously. The world is certainly supporting us and praying for us, and we hope that all will go well.
The first day of work ended with the solemn Vespers in the Carmel in Bethlehem, with the participation of the Institutes of Consecrated Life of the Holy Land. An important moment of prayer for the special intentions of the Synod, just a few dozen meters from the Basilica of the Nativity. What does the future hold for Christians in the Middle East? Do not be afraid, O little flock. So ends the text of the Instrumentum Laboris, from which one perceives the preoccupation for the difficulties of the present moment, but at the same time, the hope founded on the Christian faith in a better future, full of filial trust in divine providence. The Middle East at the center of international attention these past days, between painful events in the news, the bloody attacks by Hamas on the Israeli settlers, and important meetings at the summit for a common commitment to build a different future. Thursday, September 2nd, while Israeli President Shimon Peres was meeting with Pope Benedict XVI at Castel Gandolfo, were beginning at the White House in Washington the first direct Israeli-Palestinian talks after almost 2 years. The protagonist of the negotiations, alongside American President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the President of the Palestinian Authority Abu Mazen. An important opportunity for dialogue, despite the diverging positions on the multiple and complex questions that need to be resolved. In the Holy Land, among the Palestinian and Israeli populations, the Washington summit has raised the usual contrasting feelings, ranging from mistrust, discouragement, and glimmers of hope.
Of the peace talks that began today in Washington, the Christian community awaits, like all inhabitants of this country, Jews, Muslims and Christians, they await the concrete results. There are many difficulties, but we are aware that it is necessary to do something. From our point of view, we as Christians expect that the Christian character of the holy city of Jerusalem will be preserved.
The prospect that the direct talks reinitiated in Washington may help Israelis and Palestinians to reach an agreement respectful of the legitimate aspirations of the two peoples and capable of bringing lasting peace to the Holy Land and in the whole region, has marked the meeting between Benedict XVI and Israeli President Shimon Peres, who have also restated the condemnation of any form of violence along with the need to guarantee better living conditions to all the populations of the area. The Pope's trip to the Holy Land in May 2009 and the situation of the Catholic Church in Israel were other topics discussed at the meeting. The importance of the presence of the Catholic communities in the Holy Land was particularly emphasized, as well as the contribution that they offer to the common good of society, even through Catholic schools. On the silver menorah, gift of the Israeli President to the Holy Father, a significant dedication to His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI, the shepherd who seeks to lead us to the fields of blessings and the fields of peace. Orthodox monks and nuns, as well as pilgrims and local Christians, carrying flaming torches in the early dawn, processed through the streets of the Old City, praying and singing, a few days ago in Jerusalem. It was the Feast of the Dormition of Mary, to use the Oriental Christian title, that is to say, the Feast of the Assumption, celebrated by the Orthodox churches, according to the Julian calendar, nearly 2 weeks after the Catholic celebration. While it was still dark, religious and the faithful descended in procession from the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, carrying a decorated icon of a Madonna, and eventually reached Gethsemane, at the church venerated as the Tomb of Mary, the place where, according to the respected tradition, Mary was assumed into heaven. Here the sacred image was venerated and left for several days, after which, in another pious procession, the funeral trappings and shroud of the Virgin were returned. At the end of August, here in Jerusalem, this is one of the most appreciated recurring liturgical celebrations for Christians of Oriental rites. Many pilgrims participate in the celebration, most of them coming from Greece, from other European countries, as well as from Russia. So that they can celebrate this Marian feast with particular devotion, it is preceded by 2 weeks of fasting. Above all, it is a feast for local Christians who, with sincere faith, consider Mary to be a fellow Jerusalemite. They call her the Yerusalimitissa, for according to an ancient tradition, Mary was born and died in the Holy City. The Yerusalimitissa is also the name given to the most venerated icon in Jerusalem, which can be found near the tomb of the Virgin. Another typical Oriental icon symbolizes the passage of the Virgin to heaven through the image of a child, representing the soul of Mary, which Jesus takes in his arms so that he may carry into paradise. The church is decorated most lavishly at this time of the year and is illuminated by many little bulbs along the stairway, which leads to the tomb. Here, in accordance with the status quo agreement, differing Oriental rites, principally Greek and Armenian, care for and pray at this site. In 50 days' time, work will begin to restore the roof of the Basilica of the Nativity in Bethlehem, and it is appropriate in the city where the Christ child was born that representatives of the Christian churches of Jerusalem met to sign the agreement concerning the renovation of the Basilica's roof. An agreement that has involved not only these Christians, but the Palestinian National Authority, in the persons of the Prime Minister Salam Fayyad and Ziad al-Bandak, Minister for Christian Affairs, as well as the President of the Committee for the Renewal of the Roof of the Basilica. And so, following the signing of the agreement, the Italian firm which has been awarded the contract for the work will be able to commence the restoration in less than 2 months. It will be financed by a Bethlehem company, and the work is expected to take 150 days.
In December 2008, the President Abu Mazen, with the agreement of the churches involved, that is the Greek Patriarchate, the Custody and the Armenian Orthodox Church, signed an agreement which launched the process of renovation of the church. Today, with the signing of the agreement for the renovation, work can go ahead.
It's a historical and unique event, underlined the Palestinian Prime Minister. This place in Palestine has an important significance, whether for Christians of the whole world or for the Palestinians. We hope that this renovation may also be the occasion to begin the restoration of the other holy sites. This is the first time in 1,700 years that such a work of renovation is carried out, and it is also the first time in the recent history of Palestine. I hope that our meeting will be the beginning of new cooperation. The question of the status quo, which for the Basilica of the Nativity as well as the Holy Sepulchre regulates the property and rights of the different Christian communities, and the occasional lack of agreement between the parties, have often concerned the decisions to take regarding works of renovation. The signing of this agreement notes this also, revealing a newly found harmony between the churches.